Former Amazon Logistics insider here. If you saw the headlines about Amazon's $20,000 Slate truck pre-orders breaking the internet, you're missing the real story. They say it's sold out from overwhelming demand, but the truth is far darker. Amazon is using manufactured scarcity to trap working families on the wrong side of a $25,000 price gap, while legacy automakers scramble to protect their profits. It's the same sucker play that cost Tesla buyers $30,000 extra when they missed out. But this time, the consequences are even higher, and there's a way around it. Is Amazon's pre-order wall really a sellout, or a sellout of American drivers? What I found hiding in the numbers will change how you see every sold-out headline from here on out. You're staring at the screen, finger hovering over the pre-order button, except it's already too late. The $20,000 price tag that could have put an electric truck in your driveway is now just a digital mirage. Pre-orders are fully booked due to overwhelming demand, the site declares. But there's no satisfaction in that message. Only the gut punch realization that you're locked out, again, right as the gap between affordable and luxury trucks has never been wider. Here's the math. $20,000 for a Slate truck if you got in early. Miss that window, and the next cheapest electric pickup starts at $60,000, sometimes more. Traditional gas trucks? They're not the answer. Insurance, repairs, and gas easily burn through $400 a month, every month. Over 3 years, that's $14,400 just to keep an aging, unreliable machine on the road. Add in the $40,000 price jump to the next available electric vehicle, and you're staring down a $25,000 penalty for missing a single click. They said it was all about demand. But try explaining to your family why the only trucks left are either priced for CEOs or held together by duct tape and luck. The promise was simple. Democratize electric trucks, break the price barrier, give working families a shot at the future. Instead, the game feels rigged. You're not just losing out on a new vehicle, you're losing years of savings, every mile you drive on yesterday's technology. This isn't about missing out on a gadget. It's about being boxed out of the transportation revolution while others cash in. Every sold-out headline isn't just a story about demand, it's a warning. If you're not fast enough, connected enough, or just lucky enough, you pay the price. And the price isn't just money. It's the chance to finally stop burning half your paycheck on gas and repairs, the chance to drive something built for you, not shareholders. So when they tell you the pre-orders are gone, remember who actually pays for that scarcity. Not the executives, not the investors. It's the families who needed a break and got a locked door instead. That's not a revolution, that's a shakedown, dressed up as progress. Back in 2019, a man named Mark put down $100 for a Tesla Cybertruck pre-order. He figured he had a shot at the promised $39,900 price. 2 years later, Tesla quietly scrubbed the base model from its website. When deliveries finally began, his only option was a $70,000 version, almost double what he had budgeted. Mark needed a truck for work, so he paid the difference. That single missed window cost him over $30,000, not including the extra insurance and higher registration fees. He wasn't alone. Thousands who waited paid the premium, while early birds who secured their spot walked away with the deal of the decade. It didn't start with Tesla. Rivian opened reservations in 2021, promising a $67,500 electric truck. Within months, they raised prices by $12,000, right as pre-order holders were finalizing purchases. Some canceled in protest, but most just swallowed the cost. Rivian's own data showed over 20% of reservation holders dropped out after the price hike, but the company still reported overwhelming demand in press releases. The game? Keep the reservation list looking full, even as real buyers were priced out. Ford played a similar hand with the F-150 Lightning. Early reservation holders locked in at $40,000. By the time production ramped up, new buyers faced sticker prices closer to $60,000. Ford's executives told investors demand was strong, but inside sources reported that only a fraction of those reservations ever converted to real sales. The pattern is clear. Open a pre-order floodgate, announce a sellout, then quietly raise prices or limit supply. The headlines talk about record-breaking demand, but the fine print shows shrinking access for the people who need these vehicles most. Each time, the same script plays out. A low entry price grabs headlines, then as soon as the hype peaks, the company claims it's sold out. The reservation numbers inflate the story, but the real inventory never matches the promise. Buyers who wait for the second wave end up paying thousands more, sometimes without even realizing the price has changed until it's too late. The industry calls it phantom demand. For working families, it means being pushed out of the market by a system that was never designed for them. Amazon's $20,000 truck is just the latest chapter. The tactics haven't changed, only the names on the press releases. If you think this time will be different, look at the pattern. Every missed pre-order window comes with a price tag, sometimes $10,000, sometimes $30,000, sometimes the difference between owning a new truck and driving the same unreliable gas guzzler for another 5 years. The lesson? Scarcity isn't always about supply. Sometimes it's just the oldest marketing trick in the book, dressed up with new tech and a fresh logo. 17.2 million. That's how many parcels Amazon processes every single day. Every box, envelope, and oversized package tracked down to the minute, routed through a network that makes most automakers look like they're running a lemonade stand. This is the same logistics empire that can reroute a shipment mid-flight, predict a city's demand for dog food a week in advance, and deliver a power drill to your porch before you've even had your morning coffee. So when the pre-order page for the $20,000 truck says, fully booked due to overwhelming demand, it's not because Amazon's overwhelmed. It's because someone wants you to believe they are. Inside Amazon, the term ISA, inbound scheduled appointment, means every shipment, every vehicle, every pallet is mapped and tracked with military precision. On a normal day, the system juggles hundreds of thousands of ISAs, balancing inventory from 1,200 global facilities, including more than 350 fulfillment centers in the US alone. The scale is staggering. In 2025, Amazon hit 6.3 billion US delivery orders, 11,954 every minute. That's not a company that gets caught off guard by a few 100,000 truck pre-orders. That's a company that knows exactly how many units it can move and when. The logistics playbook here is sharper than most people realize. When Amazon wants to throttle demand, it doesn't need to wait for a warehouse to run out of stock. It can simply toggle availability, trigger a sold-out message, and watch as the myth of scarcity spreads across social media. The system can hold back inventory, release it in waves, or even assign phantom holds, internal flags that keep units off the market while the hype machine does its work. If you've ever seen a lightning deal vanish in seconds or a restock appear at 2 a.m., you've seen the same algorithms in action. It's not just about moving boxes, it's about moving perception. Amazon's logistics backbone is built to absorb shocks, reroute supply lines, and optimize for whatever outcome leadership wants. Whether that's clearing out overstock or making a product look like the hottest ticket in town. The ISA system isn't overwhelmed by demand. It's engineered to create demand, to turn a digital waiting list into a badge of honor for the buyers who got in early. Every time you see that fully booked banner, remember the numbers: 17.2 million parcels a day, 6.3 billion a year, and a logistics team that could launch 1,000 trucks before breakfast. The real question isn't whether Amazon can handle the orders. It's why they're choosing not to. Inside Amazon's logistics command center, inventory isn't just counted, it's orchestrated. The software that routes 17.2 million parcels a day can do something most buyers never imagine. It can make products disappear from the market with a single switch. Welcome to Phantom Inventory, the digital sleight of hand that turns a real product into a ghost, not because it's sold out, but because the algorithm says so. Here's how it works. Every pre-order, every truck, every warehouse slot is tracked by what Amazon calls FC allocation, fulfillment center. Allocation. The system runs on real-time data, but it's not just about moving boxes. It's about controlling what's visible to the outside world. When demand spikes, Amazon software can instantly move units into a digital hold. The product page flips to fully booked, not because the trucks are gone, but because the system has flagged those units as unavailable, sometimes for hours, sometimes for weeks. The real inventory sits untouched, waiting for the next wave. Think of it like a digital velvet rope. The allocation algorithm decides who gets in and when. It can throttle pre-orders, open and close the gates, and keep the hype engine running at full tilt. If you've ever watched a lightning deal vanish in under a minute or seen a restock appear in the dead of night, you've witnessed the same playbook. The ISA, Inbound Scheduled Appointment System, is just the surface. Underneath, there are phantom holds, artificial limits, and software switches that flip availability on and off with zero warning. This isn't about running out of trucks. It's about creating the illusion of a gold rush. The code is designed to make buyers believe they're in a race, because when people think supply is vanishing, they act fast and tell their friends. Meanwhile, the real inventory is managed with military precision, every unit accounted for, every hold and release mapped out by algorithms that can outmaneuver any human buyer. The result? Manufactured scarcity. The pre-order page says sold out, but the back end shows units waiting in reserve. The system can release them in waves, trigger another round of headlines, and keep the story of overwhelming demand alive. It's not a glitch. It's a feature, one that turns digital inventory into a tool for controlling perception and driving urgency. For most buyers, the game is invisible. But if you've ever worked inside Amazon's logistics stack, you know the truth. What's gone today can reappear tomorrow with the flip of a software switch. The scarcity isn't always real. Sometimes it's just code. Carlos Tavares, the CEO of Stellantis, didn't mince words at the Amsterdam conference. If you go and cut pricing disregarding the reality of your costs, you will have a bloodbath. I am trying to avoid a race to the bottom. He wasn't talking about a hypothetical. He was responding to Tesla's price slashing, but every executive in Detroit and Tokyo heard the warning. The numbers behind that fear aren't subtle. For General Motors, each full-size pickup rolling off the line brings in at least $17,000 in pre-tax profit. In Texas, GM's Arlington plant produced 345,000 SUVs last year, generating $25 billion in revenue and $4 billion in EBIT, nearly a third of the company's total earnings before interest and taxes. That's not just profit. That's fortress-level cash flow. So when a $20,000 electric truck threatens to blow open the bottom end of the market, the response isn't just nervous glances. It's a full-court press in Washington. Since 2019, the top 10 automakers and their trade groups have spent more than $183 million lobbying the federal government. General Motors alone dropped $48.6 million. Toyota, $31 million. Ford, nearly $21 million. Stellantis spent $2.44 million last year, with most of it funneled through FCA US. The Alliance for Automotive Innovation, the industry's biggest lobbying group, fields a dozen lobbyists every quarter just to keep tabs on emissions rules, tax credits, and any threat to the pickup profit machine. Why the panic? Because pickups and SUVs aren't just vehicles. They're the industry's lifeblood. The margins on a Silverado or Ram dwarf anything made on a sedan. In some quarters, pickups have delivered 58% of total profits for Detroit's automakers. That's why the idea of a $20,000 electric truck isn't just a product launch, it's an existential threat. If the price floor drops, the entire business model cracks. Suddenly, that $400 a month families spend just to keep an old gas truck running isn't a given. Suddenly, the $17,000 of profit per unit is up for grabs. Behind the scenes, the lobbying surge isn't about protecting consumers or ensuring fair competition. It's about buying time, keeping the status quo safe while the industry scrambles to adapt. Every dollar spent in Washington is a bet that the revolution can be slowed, that regulations can be tweaked, that the flood of affordable EVs can be contained just long enough to squeeze out a few more years of record profits. The stakes aren't theoretical. Miss the next pre-order window, and you're not just paying more, you're paying into a system designed to keep prices high and options limited. That's why the lobbying figures matter. That's why Tavares's warning rings out in every boardroom. The fear is real, and the power to shape the market isn't just in the factories, it's on Capitol Hill. The playbook changes when you know what to look for. Beating the manufactured scarcity game isn't about luck or speed, it's about seeing the signals buried in the noise. The pre-order insider method boils down to 3 triggers, each one ripped straight from Amazon's own logistics DNA. Forget the headlines, watch the back end. Signal 1. Sudden job postings for line-side fulfillment techs. Amazon doesn't scale production by accident. When new roles pop up, especially for temp workers at the Indiana facility or for contract battery handlers, pre-orders are about to quietly reopen. The last time this happened, 200 postings went live on a Thursday night. By Monday, the reservation page flickered back for exactly 45 minutes. Those who caught the hiring spike got in. Everyone else saw only the fully booked banner. Signal 2, the affiliate code shuffle. Amazon's system tracks every referral with surgical precision. When you see a new batch of influencer codes or a fresh wave of pre-order links pushed to niche truck forums, the gate is about to crack open. That's not marketing. That's a controlled leak. During the Echo launch, the same pattern played out. Codes went live, a handful of insiders locked in devices, and the rest of the world was left refreshing the page. If you wait for the press release, you're already too late. Signal 3. Server monitoring spikes. AWS traffic to the reservation backend doesn't lie. When there's a surge in backend pings, far above normal site traffic, Amazon's prepping a wave release. Insiders watch for these spikes using standard server tools. The moment the numbers jump, a new batch of pre-orders is about to go live, typically in the dead of night. That's how the earliest slate buyers got their $20,000 spot while the rest of the country slept. These aren't theories, they're repeatable signals. The Echo launch, the Fire T5 restock, even the Rivian van rollout all followed this same script. Stealth job postings, affiliate code drops, server traffic spikes. Each time, the window slammed shut in hours, sometimes minutes. The smart buyers weren't faster. They were watching the right data. Here's the kicker. These signals only work as long as Amazon keeps up the illusion. The moment the playbook goes public, the window closes for good. Miss it, and you're back in line with everyone else, paying 5 figures more because you trusted the sold-out sign. But once you know what to look for, you're not just another name on a waiting list. You're in the room where the real deals happen. That's the difference between smart money and victim math. The system's rigged, unless you know the code. In 2024, Amazon's $20,000 slate truck pre-orders closed within hours, locking out thousands of working-class buyers. Internal logistics data revealed Amazon's network handles over 17 million packages a day and spans more than 1,200 U.S. facilities, evidence contradicting claims of genuine capacity shortages. Documents confirm that since 2019, traditional automakers spent over $183 million on federal lobbying, while CEOs warned of a bloodbath if low-cost electric vehicles reach the mainstream. Yet, Amazon's own allocation software allowed for phantom inventory holds, creating an artificial sense of scarcity. What remains classified are the full details of Amazon's production agreements and the direct influence of automaker lobbying on pre-order limits. Still, the facts are clear. Manufactured scarcity and coordinated industry pressure have made affordable transportation harder to access. For consumers, the cost of missing this window is quantifiable. Over $25,000 lost in just 3 years. The evidence shows that informed buyers, armed with real signals, can break the cycle. The revolution isn't sold out, it's being kept just out of reach.